Okay, so we're out here at the last round of Lone Star Drift. I decided to come and shake up the points in Texas Street Legal, but on my third lap of the weekend, I broke my offset rack spacer and I could not fix it in time, so I only got to do that. But luckily, when your car breaks an event, if you have good friends, sometimes you get to do a few extra laps. Yeah. So Kenny let me drive his car.
Yeah.
And so I figured I'd do like a little review video, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of want to see what you think.
But I figured. Yeah. So we both have S14s, and I feel like they're similar levels of cars, but totally different philosophies, right? Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your car?
2JZ versus your LS. Wisefab, angle kit. You've got Wisefab. I've got GK Tech in the rear. I've got a dog box also. Stock 350 zero end. But I believe that's all that's kind of different, really.
So, what kind of power does your car make? Or, what did I drive it on, I guess? Because you can...
you drove it on about 550.
Okay, about 550. So
yeah.
that's basically what mine makes.
Yeah.
So, about the same power. You got a G35 900.
Yep.
So, one of the new, fancy Garrett's that spools pretty good.
Yeah.
So, I'll go ahead and insert some driving clips now, and then we'll kind of, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Beep.
die. That is so different than my car in like every single way.
Really?
Yeah. Is the power steering usually shaky?
A little bit. It's like without, not in drift?
Like the bigs, the last lap it started doing it more than what I thought was normal, so I stopped.
Oh.
Like on entry it was kind of wobbly, and then on the transition to turn 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Last time I did it, I pulled the wheel weights off.
Okay.
It's probably just balance. It does that every once in a while.
Yeah, it wasn't like. All right, so that was driving Kenny's car. Here is his JZ setup. Pretty fancy looking. It's a pretty big turbo, but
Don't lag that much.
it's a good turbo.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what kind of helps it.
Yeah, and then I think the cams helps a lot too.
It's on 272s.
Yeah, 272s.
Yeah, 272s are good.
I think it spools about 3,000, 3,500.
Where it starts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only thing I noticed when I was driving it is the dog box is of course fantastic.
Yeah.
But I feel like the ratios are so much longer with the dog box.
It is.
That then the Z diff is starting to make it like artificially laggy.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like on takeoff, if you don't rev it up to like 35, 4,000 RPM and then just drop it,
Yeah.
it'll just
Yeah.
So
It's the turbo you can tell spools well,
yeah,
but the gearing is so long.
yeah, exactly.
Like when I drove here, I was in 4th in my car, and we were doing like
We're
a second gear,
in the
right?
whole thing, yeah.
But as far as like the YSWAP stuff goes, YSWAP goes
Yeah.
great.
Yep. You have BCs?
No, I got Fortunato.
Oh, you got Fortunato.
So that's another difference. We have the
Yeah.
same spring rates though,
yeah.
but your
we
setup's
do.
heavier.
Yes.
So I would say my car in a competition setting is probably a lot easier.
Yeah.
There's a lot less,
Work you gotta do.
yeah,
basically.
honestly, margin for error. Or,
Yeah, that
well,
too.
more margin for error, rather.
Yeah.
Like, if I kind of get into a bind, I just floor
You
it.
just floor it.
You can't do that.
No,
But-
yeah, mine you gotta play with it and keep it on the RPMs.
But I will say, your car is so much more exciting than mine.
It is fun.
Dude, it's so good. It just makes all the cool noises.
Yes.
It's so engaging to drive.
Yep.
It's
Then
only
every once in a while
complaint,
you see
dude.
a flame come out of the wastegate.
Like, my VQ and my LS have similar power bands, just very different power levels.
Yeah.
So they're both kind of similar.
So kind
drive
of, so it helps
input-wise.
consistency.
Yeah, but the only complaint I have with them is they're almost kind of boring.
Yeah.
Because like there's no, not boring. Like my S14's not boring. It's not
No,
engaging.
yours, yeah,
Like you have to make so many less inputs to do the same thing.
that's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I drove Aaron's one time, and it's just the second you hit the gas, it just really starts to break loose. That was interesting.
Yep. So he's got a dog box in here, just like my car. The seating position was honestly perfect, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's dog box and stock Z diff. So last year, I was dog box and a stock diff too, but I was on an S14 diff, which is like a 4.3, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. So.
Manual diff.
Yeah, so most of the tracks I go to now, I run anywhere from like a 4.1 to like a 5.3 rear end. So that, my diff ratio last year kind of worked. But he went to a Z diff, so the ratio is so much longer. And I feel like that's the main thing that makes this car tricky to drive.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, it does. And then it just really makes you want to, like, it wants to be beat on.
Yeah.
And you got to stay in the RPMs.
Yeah, my first couple laps in it, like you guys saw earlier, like I was kind of bogging, not really getting around the track well. Because it's not my car, so I was trying to be nice to it.
But you
and then
can't.
I realized you
doesn't want
you
to be
can't
driven
do
nice.
that. Yeah. If you're nice to it, you're not even going to get around the track. So whenever I
Exactly.
realized you have to beat on it,
Yeah.
it kind of all flowed. It felt good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I
You
mean,
just gotta be aggressive.
Around the sweeper, I'm foot to the floor.
Yeah.
So-
yeah, I was floored through the sweeper too. It was kind of like getting out of like the slower corners where you're floating for a
yes.
second.
Yeah, you
and
really
fall out
got
of the power band.
and then
Yeah, yeah.
kick back in a clutch kick.
But
Oh,
yeah.
that's the other thing too. You said you didn't have to clutch kick as much on your car.
Well, I mean, like whenever I'm coming off handbrake, I'll like rev it up and dump the clutch.
Okay.
But mid corner and stuff,
Yeah.
never have to clutch.
Yeah, because if you drop around like 3,000 RPM, it starts to bog, and you just got to give it.
Yeah, I mean,
nice
my
little
car, even from almost idle, you can just,
break the tires.
and it'll just blow them up.
Yeah.
I mean, once you start getting into like the crazy tires and stuff,
Yeah.
that changes a little bit. When
Oh,
you're overexposed
definitely.
and crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's a different style of driving, but I feel like for competition stuff, it's easier for sure.
Yeah. Yours
But
is.
yeah, but I think yours is definitely more fun.
Yeah. It is fun.
So, JZ versus LS, they're both awesome. You need to drive my car sometime.
Yes. Yeah, I would love
return
to
the favor on that.
Yeah.
But I think JZ's, in terms of having like the most exciting driving experience, they definitely take the cake.
Okay.
It's super good.
That's interesting.
Yeah. If you ever get a different gear ratio in your car, I think it would be crazy.
Well, I'd like to try and get a dog box.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, a quick change this off season.
Yeah.
So quick change, Wisefab, and Wisefab axles are in there.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a Drift Masters car already. Look at that, same thing.
You know, the guys were here from Ireland for Drift Week. They're like, this is a fucking FD. Oh, sorry. This is an FD car. I'm like, no, it's not an FD car. He goes, around for us, it is.
I mean, you can make like 700 horsepower.
Yeah.
With a dog box.
Yeah. I mean, it's dang
That's
close.
a pro spec car, dude.
It really is.
That's all that is.
Yeah.
It's very cool, man. Well, I appreciate you letting me drive your car.
You're welcome.
You made my weekend a little less
I'm sorry you
lame.
gotta leave.
Yeah, it's all right. You can go home early.
Yeah.
But, all right, thanks, Kenny.
Yeah, dude.
Car sick.
Thank you.